Hey, welcome back. Just thought I would show you. This is what the score sheet looks like for red. This one is green. And then you can see yellow is yet to score anything. And then blue has the 21 points there from the Ostrogoths. If I were playing with human players, that yellow player would be busy texting on his phone. I think he might have even been able to go grocery shopping and cook a full goose roast and still not have it be his turn yet. I know I'm being a little facetious there, but this would be quite the game where the yellow player has yet to go. Yeah, and they did get to go, actually. The Alani moved 3 spaces and then their turn was over. Just so you could see, you know, we took their turn prematurely out of order, but every turn they get each Byzantine, Frank, Hun, Roman, or Visigoth that's eliminated, they get a point. But by turn 6, they need to be in Spain. So this is, that's why they migrated. They are considered nomads, so they get some bonuses that, for example, when they get their reinforcements, they get maximum number, they get to pick what they're going to be, you know, things like that. But okay, so by the way, I looked up the rule. When you do a campaign, your units stay wherever they finish the campaign. So he used his 3rd campaign to basically just regroup. So that's how we pulled that off. Last one is the Visigoths, and then we're done with the barbarians. Which is 1, 2, 3, 4, that's 5 out of the 8 nations in the game. So, I mean, this is the lion's share here. But the Visigoths, as you can see, are right here. And what is it that they want to do point-wise? So I'm trying to grab their card without spilling all their units. I spilled a few. Okay, so what do they need point-wise? Well, let's take a look. Every non-Goth unit eliminated, a point. 3 points under a foedus, and if they convert to Catholicism. And they don't score until turn 3, and it's Cisalpina, which is northern Italy. So they want to get into northern Italy. That's their goal. So it's their turn now. They do not get an invasion. They have a Rex, which is just a generic leader. And what shall they do? Let's figure it out. I think this is going to be a very quick turn for them. So they can't attack with the Horde, but they can migrate with the Horde. And I think what they want to do is migrate 1, 2, 3, and then they can stop in Moravia for now. And now they're positioned to go into and attack northern Italy. There was no point in them staying in Wallachia. They could have attacked from Wallachia, but I think the migrating is the right call. The Huns are coming, and I'm worried about them being in the way. Like, they're basically right where the Huns are going to start showing up. And the reason I'm worried about that is, guess this is called Hunia right here. So maybe this was not the best move for them. I don't know what the best move would be. The Horde is not allowed to move if it's part of an invasion. The Rex does have 1 campaign on here, see? So actually, that's not a bad deal. So we're going to go ahead and migrate 1, 2, 3 like that, and then he's going to use his campaign to attack this city right there. So then this Roman is going to try to move 1, 2 to intercept. So we're going to roll a d10. He rolled a 6, and he's going to get a +2 because he's Roman, or civilized, or I'm sorry, +2 because he's an empire. He didn't have to cross a ridge. he only needs a 6 to intercept, so he made it. So this particular guy was able to come up and intercept, and so we got a battle. This Lemus is going to get destroyed. I rolled an odd, so it didn't take anything out with it, so that gets destroyed. So that's 1 point for the Visigoths. Let me do that before I forget. All right, so now we got ourselves an interesting battle here. Let me get the card out of the way. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 units versus 1 unit. And there is a fortified city, so that is going to give them a bonus of +1 to their die roll. There's no leader for them. This leader gets 2 die rolls. No. Yeah, 2. Oh, I always forget. Is it the bottom left, top left? Dang it. I think it's the top left. Always hangs me up. We've only done this how many times now? And of course, that player aid doesn't even tell us. The other one does, but I'll just go in a rule book real quick. Yes, this is quicker. Top left. So 1 reroll for them. Okay, so we are attacking over a river, but we were intercepted. So we made it over the river just fine. You know, we already took care of the Lemus, the fort, so that's fine. There's no elite. Well, there's an elite unit here, so that gives a +1 to the Romans. The cavalry advantage belongs to the barbarians, so they get +1. Empire versus barbarians gives them a +1. And nobody has heavy advantage. They do have heavy, but so do they. Then you need to have 2 more than the other. Barbarian versus civilized in a barbarian area. That's not the case. They're not the attack. The Romans are not the attackers, so some things don't apply. Okay, so the Romans are going to get +1 for the fortified city, +1 because of the elite. Nope, they don't. They need to have at least 2 elite to get +1. And so they don't get that. They get +1 for the fortified city and +1 because it's Empire versus Barbarians. So they get a +2. Now the Barbarians get a +1 because of this, the cavalry. And that's it. They don't get any other +1s. So +2, +1. 1 reroll for him. They're the attackers, so they're going to roll first. And I rolled a 7. And there's 4 units, and a 7 with 4 units puts us at 1.5. A higher number would, of course, hit twice. But we'll go ahead and just take the 1 hit. So the 1 hit on him would flip him over, like so. Okay, so then he gets to roll, and he rolled a 4. And I think we said he gets a +2. That would be 6, but he's only 1 unit. 1 unit at a 6 is still 0 hits. So the barbarians are doing great. And they're no longer elite. Well, actually, the elite didn't count before. But see, that heavy goes away. So now they get the heavy bonus. So he gets a -1 to his die roll now. This is a 5. He's going to use his reroll. And that's a 9. Much better. So 9 with 4 units is a clobber fest. So this guy's dead. He rolls a 5, even with +2, it's not going to matter. So he will get to keep his unit, because remember, everybody recovers their units at the end, and this unit will have to retreat. So he can choose to retreat back to Illyricum or into Venetia. He's going to retreat to Illyricum, because that's the region he was originally assigned. And then now we have a siege going on. They did eliminate a Roman unit, so they do score a point for that. So let's not forget that. So 1 more point for the Visigoths. And now they're going to do a siege. He is not going to take 2 hits to succeed at the siege. We're just going to do our best. The siege is going to cause a -2 to their die roll. And it is not a civilized besieger. They're not a nomadic barbarian. They are in decline. So the barbarians get a +1 to their die roll for that. But this is not a harbor situation, so we're not going to get the -1 for that. So basically, you need a 7 to win. And they get a +1 because the Romans are in decline, but a -2 because of the fortified city. So +1 -2 means that we need an 8, 9, or 10. And we get 1 reroll. And I rolled the wrong dice. Oh my gosh, I rolled a 10. All right, so the Romans lose a city. That gets pillaged, so $2 for the Visigoths. Let's go up here and give them $2. And I think we're going to leave that city fortified because they're controlling it. So why not? Although the empires get credit for cities, whereas the barbarians don't. But I think I'm going to leave it fortified for now. What's going on? What else? Let me pull up the list here of what happens. Okay, so we looted the city. It is a level 1 city, so we get 1 pillage marker. So I'm going to randomly grab one of those. And we get 2 more bucks. I will take that. And I'm going to put the pillage marker on top of the city. And I know I'm reaching over the camera. My apologies. All right. So they're at $4. And no events. We could dismantle the walls if we wanted, but we're going to leave it be because I don't really have a lot of confidence that the Romans are going to take that back. And even if they do, they have to siege the city then. So yeah. Now, you don't have to loot a city. We could have chosen not to draw a pillage marker and then just simply controlled the city. That is an option. Because if I'm not going to burn the walls down, maybe I don't necessarily want to have pillaged it. Right? Because if I'm trying to control this, because remember, these guys want to be in northern Italy, and that territory is a northern Italy-ish territory. It's more Balkan states, but I mean, you can see it's more in the... So we're getting close to northern Italy there, and territory that they would want to control. But anyways, we pillaged it for now. Maybe we'll have to pay the money to heal the city or whatever during the next phase. Actually, barbarians, I think barbarians can deal with pillaged cities. But anyways, there's the situation. We are done with our campaign. Barbarians are over. So that was 14 minutes in. Next up is the Romans. And I've spent so much time playing as the barbarians, both in the first playthrough and this one, that the Romans always throw me for a loop because I don't know what to do with the Romans. But let's take a look real quick at their, obviously they want to just hold their territory. There's no issue there. They get a victory point for every barbarian or Persian eliminated. They get lots of points if they can eliminate Attila. And each other barbarian named Rex eliminated. Each raider eliminated. And 2 VP income for each non-heretical Roman province. Each non-heretical Roman province. That is a lot of victory points. Minus 2 VP for every Roman city that's been looted. I don't know if the Byzantines have the same thing, but that means they would have lost 2 VP, and then the Byzantines would have lost 2. Let me check theirs. Yeah, that's the case. So they get minus 2. And so does the Byzantines. So I'm just going to write it in the Britain area. Minus 2, minus 2. So that's minus 4 so far for them. So I think this answers one of my mysteries, because the designer talks about how you score points at the end of your turn for having... So 2 VP is an income for income of each non-heretical Roman province. I don't even know what that means. Income of each. So you would have to, so you look at the income, and let's say the income's 1. So I get 2 victory points for each 1. That's like the English is bad. Let me look at the player aid. Maybe that will, chances are it's going to say the exact same thing, which isn't going to be helpful. Where is their player aid? There's only 5. Okay, so it says each dollar in non-heretical province income each turn is worth 1 point. So that is insanity. That's a lot of points. But you do lose points with the Romans, and they actually can lose a lot of points depending on how this plays out. So I guess it's not, you know, super crazy, but yeah, they're going to score a lot of points here. I don't know how much they're going to conquer, though. They did lose their leader, so they don't get a campaign. They do have a Caesar, though, but the Caesar is way up here, and he would have to go through the Frankie. So he really can't do anything up there. So nothing doing there. They do get to take like a barbarian from the Mauritanians, but they have it already here in Africa. And there's not much to do here. There's no enemy to actually fight. They just had to deal with raiders, and then of course they have heresies and lions and tigers and bears. This one is not allowed to leave Rome, I think. If I remember correctly, he has to stay there, or he has to stay at least in the Italia region. So I can't, like, you know, march him out. This one, we could try to march up and take them on, but it's just a single unit. And so I think what we're going to do is we're going to try to kick them, the Alemanis, out of Lotharingia. And the thing is that we're probably going to succeed. So we can march our troops without a leader. There's 4 of them, in fact, into this area, which would be taking on just 1. And if we leave that horde there, we would vassalize them, which we don't want. So, or the barbarians don't want that. So the horde's for sure going to retreat. And in fact, the unit's going to retreat into here. Actually, they could try to intercept, couldn't they? Yes, they could. So let's try to intercept. So this would be one interception across the river and another interception there. So let's do that. Let's do the one that's going across the river. I rolled an 8. That should be more than enough. Yep, you only lose points for a ridge or a straight, and the river doesn't count. Then we're going to do the one with the leader. I rolled a 7. You get to even add the leader bonus, which is 2. So we met them. So basically, everybody's going to meet them in a field of battle, including the horde, I guess. Now, the red player does have this craft card. They can cancel a siege. Oh, we should have used that. We would have had to pay gold. Allows a nation playing the card to recruit 1 unit from a barbarian nation whose horde is adjacent to or within one of its areas. So we could have actually recruited an Alemanni unit to fight for us. But the stacking limit is 4, so we wouldn't have been able to do anything. We could use it, though, to fight the Visigoths, so we may do this. These diplomacy cards give us a buck at the end of the round, so we may just hold on to those. And we also have these ones. Well, actually, these are the Byzantine, so sorry about that. Those belong to the Byzantines. They could have actually, oh boy, they could have really screwed up they could have canceled a siege and screwed the Ostrogoths from ever being able to conquer Sarmatia. Wow. See, it can't be refused. So this would have actually forced the Ostrogoths to not do what they did. So this is the problem with playing solitaire, is you forget, you know, if I was the red player, I'd be like, ooh, screw you. You know, ha ha ha, you should have migrated. Because this would have prevented them from ever being able to take Sarmatia. So the Byzantines had the perfect card for that. But we're going to just go ahead and keep playing it out. And yes, everything got intercepted, so let's try to resolve this battle. The Romans are the attacker. They do not have a leader. We were able to intercept. We only have 4 units to their 4 units, which are super heavy duty compared to ours. So this may be a very foolish battle, but they have the cavalry advantage. They have the 1, 2, 3, 4 elites, so they get a +2 for that. They also have the heavy advantage. I don't know what I was smoking. They get to attack. So I'm going to just roll their dice first. They rolled a 7. Okay. So what do they get for their advantages? So they are attacking barbarians in a forest. So they actually get a -1 for that. They didn't go across a river. So they're down to a 6. But they get +2 because they're a Roman with 4 elite units, so that's 8. They get another +1 for cavalry is 9. And +1 because they're versus barbarian, that's 10. So 4 units rolling a 10 would be 2.5 hits, which gets rounded down to 2. So they would eliminate 2 units here. But the attack is simultaneous, so now the barbarians get to go. They do get a -1 to their die roll because they don't have the heavy advantage. They get no other advantage, but he's going to use one of his rerolls to give himself a +2. So they're going to get overall a +1 to their die roll. And that's a 10. That's a really good die roll. And he also has 4 units. He rolled a 10. He just did 2 hits to the Romans. And the Romans can, of course, hit their elite units, which just flips them over, but does not eliminate them. Okay, so this is the part where the rubber hits the road, and so this guy's going to choose to retreat because he does have another reroll. He could have possibly made the Romans reroll in their first battle where they hit his 2 units. He can give himself a +2 again, but he's down to only 2 units, and there's a chance he's going to get eliminated, and he could possibly even lose his horde because the horde can't retreat by itself. So he's going to retreat now, which then lets him restore these 2 units. That's the other advantage. So the Romans are going to get 2 points, and yes, the Alemanni lost everything they gained. They're going back to here. They had control of this territory, but they gave it up. And okay, so how does control work? Yes, they controlled the province, but as soon as they left the province, the control of that province goes to whoever controls the area. And since the cities are controlled by Rome, the empire controls the area. That's how that works. And then they get to flip one of these, but not both. So they're going to flip this one, and nope, they'll flip that one. And then this one that's not flipped, I'm going to put it on top because during the purchase phase, they could possibly purchase. Okay, so that unit, those units are done because since they have no leader, they can't do a campaign or anything like that. Now this leader here can do a campaign. See, he has a 1 on him. So he can pick up units, remember, and he can go anywhere he wants, like here, for example, and he can choose to campaign across the river and attack the Alemanni. So his goal, of course, would be to try to vassalize them. That is something he can most certainly do. And in fact, he can move 1, 2, 3, so he's not going across a river. Okay, you're allowed to do that. The other thing he can try to do is campaign, so he can pick up all of his units and come here and try to take on the Visigoths. Same concept. That would take back his city, which has been pillaged, and push it back. So he's actually going to do that. He's going to take on the Visigoths because the city is more important to the empire than that territory, which is actually a barbarian territory. So Caesar is going to do that. And he's going up against the Visigoth Rex, which has its own leader. And the Romans do get points if they can kill or defeat a leader and eliminate him. Now, the other leader retreated, and you do a elimination check if all the units get eliminated and the leader is the only thing left. But anyways, stacking limit's normally 4, but he makes it 5 because of the plus, or that +2 actually means he can make it 6. So he could pick up this unit that was in Illyria as well. So we're going to do that. We clearly have the heavy advantage. They have 1 heavy, we have 3 here. They do not have the cavalry because there's 1 cavalry here and 1 cavalry there. So Romans are going to go ahead and roll. Well, actually, we've got to decide, are we getting a +2 or -2? So here's what's going to happen. This Rex guy is going to spend one of his rerolls to force him to get a -2. And then he's going to spend his reroll to cancel it. And that was going to be the case either way. So if he tried to get a +2 for his own side, he was going to use his reroll to cancel the +2. So this is the problem with solitaire play is, you know, it's hard to like think what would each side do. But in this case, they both get 1 reroll and they would both just cancel each other out. That's the way I'm going to play it. All right, let's roll for the Romans. I only rolled a 5. Boy, that reroll would be nice right now. So what do I get with this? Well, there's a fortified city because remember they chose not to burn the city. So they get +1 because they're versus a barbarian. So that would be 6. but then they get -1 because they're versus a barbarian in a forest. So they're back to 5. And then they get +2 because they have 4 elite. So that would be 7. And 7 it is. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units with a roll of 7 is 2.5 hits, which rounds down to 2. Okay, so 2 hits over here, and he would of course pick these 2. And now he gets to roll. That's an 8, much better roll. And but his roll gets reduced by 1 because he does not have the heavy advantage. So that 8 becomes a 7. And he gets +1 because there's a fortified city. So it's an 8. And that's it for him. And he had 4 units. 4 units with an 8 is 2 hits. Okay, so 2 hits on the Romans would be, we're going to choose 1 and then 2. Okay, this guy's retreating, so he can save his units. Plus, he doesn't want to give the Romans any more points. So he's going to save his units, he's going to retreat. So let's pause for a second. The Romans get 2 points for killing those 2 units. He gets 1 point for killing 1 Roman unit. And that's what, the Visigoths. And then the reason the Romans took 2 hits with the same unit is he actually gets to bring it back to life, right? And then he gets to flip one of them. So actually we'd flip that one and leave this one. So he didn't come out any further ahead, but that's the deal there. And of course, all the troops are going to be up in that area. So let's talk about what does that area mean and what does all this mean. So the Rex retreated back to where the horde is. Okay, the Roman Caesar with his 1 injured unit is now here, and he needs to take the city Carnuntum, which is currently pillaged at the moment, and gets a -2 to its defenses. Now, I think since it's pillaged, it may not get a +2. So a fortified city Fortified cities definitely give a -2 to the die roll. I'm trying to figure out if the fact that it's pillaged, that, you know, it is still fortified because we didn't burn the walls down. I'll look in the rule book real quick for this. The player aid doesn't quite explain it, but that could be because there's nothing to look at here. The fortified city section is way in the end of the book. It's a weird location. Section 30, I believe. Nope, that's diplomacy. Section 23. So it prevents passage in force, which we keep forgetting to do. If battles take place in a fortified city's province, the defender gets an additional die, but that's only if you're a civilized nation. Ooh, I didn't realize that. I'm just looking at the siege section here. So if a pillage marker is on a city, it just means it can't be looted a second time. So if the Romans were to retake the city, it just means it can't be looted again. All right, so the fortified is going to give a -2 to the die roll. So we do have a civilized besieger, so we're going to get a +1. We could take 2 hits to get a bonus to our assault. I'm not going to do that. -2 because it's fortified, and that's it. So we get a +1 and a -2. So that means we need an 8, 9, or 10, just like previous times, and there's only 1 re-roll, so this is going to be a tough roll. That's a 5, not good enough. We get a 1 re-roll, and I rolled a 6. So I failed to take that city. I don't think there was any card that would have helped me. Nope. So the Romans could not take the city. It's pillaged and still burning, and then what that means is they have to retreat. So they're going to retreat 1 space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. I was just making sure Caesar actually had enough to even carry a stack that big. He did. Okay, so Romans are done. Now, here's the part that's so difficult, and this is the kind of stuff that's going to make me want to play this game anymore. I now have to go through and calculate every province that the Romans have control of and get a victory point for each money. Well, province money is the red number here that the kingdom would get. So, for example, this is 9, so that'd be 9 points. Hispania is 13, but 1's in revolt. So we're going to say that's -2, that's 11. So 11 and 9 is 20 points. Then we go up to Britannia. That's 11 more. Jiminy. 31 points. I mean, is this serious? And for the Romans, it's 2 victory points, not just 1. I mean, that would be... That's 42 points for the Romans. That's an insane amount of points that they just get for free because they... Each dollar in non-heretical province income each turn. They get, okay, they get 1 point. I guess it was misprinted on the card. So would we use the, maybe they score these points whenever the income phase is. Right, because they got money, right? What was it, 69 bucks? So that would mean they would have gotten 69 points. That just seems so broken. I mean, the yellow player hasn't even gone yet to score a point. The green player has scored a whole 2 points so far. And the Romans are going to score 69. Now, I have to point out, I mean, we got some spots here, -10 points here, when he abandons places. So, I mean, he does lose points, but like here, you know, he's going to get points for having areas under control. Each, right here, each dollar in non-heretical province income, each turn is worth 1 point. I'm going to look up on Board Game Geek what that means. So I'm going to end this video. Thanks for watching. Stay awesome. That is going to be the end of the Roman turn. We are going to be moving to, of all things, the Persians finally. Yellow finally gets to go. So anyways, I really, there are certain parts of this game I love, but if I really have to count stuff like that to score points at the end of the Roman, I'm not, I mean, I guess it increases the urgency for the other players to destroy the Romans, right? Because if you don't destroy the Romans, then the Romans are going to just run away with the game. I sort of understand why the designer would do this. I mean, you got basically the two civilized empires. They're going to score their points, and basically it's up to the barbarians to make them miserable. Because if you're a barbarian and you're trying to be nice to them, you could theoretically allow them to run away with the game. I get it. I just want to make sure I'm doing that right. And anyways, we'll see you soon.